Now we have our chief guest, Mr. Suresh Prabhu, address us. A member of Rajya Sabha and Indian emissary to G20 and G7, Mr. Prabhu is a man of action. With a penchant for undertaking reforms, scripting turnarounds, and achieving superlative results by working in mission mode, he is an advocate for decisive, growth driven change and is well respected for his impeccable integrity, passion, commitment towards society at large. Mr. Prabhu was featured among the top 3 Indian leaders of the future by Asia Week magazine Hong Kong in its cover story, Giant on the Move. And it's a delight to have you, sir, to have you, sir, amidst us. So we are thrilled to welcome you to Exhibit 2020. And the floor is yours.
For me to speak? Oh.
Yes, sir.
So good morning, friends. I'm very happy that the young, bright managers of tomorrow, the people who are going to run the world in the next few years' time, are the ones who organize this program. So I congratulate the director, because when he said he is the one who directs and you are the one who actually play on the screen and the stage. So as he said, he's very proud of the fact that his own creation, the students are the creation of the director, are the ones who are going to be playing active role in organizing this event. And I'm very happy that tomorrow's entrepreneurs are the ones who are going to talk about entrepreneurship of today. So I'm very happy that I'm participating in such a fantastic program. I know Bangalore is one of the best B school that we have. And the director who has rejoined it, coming from Indore. So from indoor to outdoor. So he's going to be working in very innovative way to mentor this new activity and take it forward to a logical level. So thank you very much. Actually, in this today's gloomy world, the world has always been gloomy for those who look at it from that way, and always been bright for those who consider it in that way. But general mood is pretty bad globally. Those who recovered are still facing the ill effects of the corona which they infected before. Those who are not are worried that, oh, when am I next in line? And the societies, which are the most developed societies, are the most affected one by the coronas. I don't know why. And you mentioned about G20. G20 accounts for 86% of the global GDP and account for more than 80% of total infections. So GDP and infection go hand in hand? I don't know. I'm not a doctor, not a data cruncher, so I don't know. But just see, so everybody is affected. And now even Europe is entering, looks like, what do you call it, second wave. And we don't know whether we are in which wave we are. So in such a situation, there are some guys, some people are doing quite well in this gloomy situation globally. And as you can see, as I was saying, that there are common distinguishing feature that countries who are most affluent are the ones more affected. Of course, more than 200 countries and geographies in the world are affected. So everybody is affected. All continents are affected except Antarctica. So I think we are still jealous. I think the human beings, why Antarctica is not affected. So I think some of us will go there and make them also infected. So that world is, we want to level it. But while this is happening, so everybody is there, there are some people who are doing extremely well. The wealth has increased. There are people who are coming out with new ideas. Who are these people? Who are thinking about the challenge as an opportunity? Who are these people? Those who are actually looking at a brighter side of this gloomy world are the entrepreneurs of the world. An entrepreneur is no one except the one who can see opportunity in everything. That's an entrepreneur. The person who takes risk is an entrepreneur. And who, in a way, if you really look at it, who in life doesn't take a risk? We say risk taking is one of the most important characteristics of an entrepreneur. But tell me a person in life who doesn't take risk. Somebody may say, yes, there are some people who don't take risk with their money, is a different thing. Otherwise, the whole mission of life is full of fraught with challenges, risk all the time. So person doesn't have a choice of taking risk or not taking a risk. When he starts living life, he's taking risk. And the biggest entrepreneurs that way, in India at least, are farmers. Who take bigger risk than farmers? Today, your school is located in Karnataka. All farmers are aghast because all their hard work, they produce, is just washed away because of rains. Sometimes it rains, doesn't rain. Tell me a bigger risk in business. When you have no control over the rains, you have no control over the weather, and agriculture is based on weather. Can there be a more riskier business in the world than Indian farmers? So risk is obviously one of the great characteristic of entrepreneur. But those are the ones which everybody does, as I said. The entrepreneurs with ideas, I think everybody is actually an idea, really speaking. I always, when I was growing up, somebody who told me he's a great thinker. I said, really? I mean, I had yet to come across a person who is not a thinker. Everybody thinks all the time. So what is a great person to be called as a thinker? Can there be another category of people like thinker? Everybody thinks. So the same way, risk is everybody takes. Ideas everybody has. But then what is that makes entrepreneur different than the rest of the crowd? He sees, in my opinion, has a great ability to think through. And he does all these risk-taking ideas, he of course has, like everybody else. But he looks at it very positively. When everybody wants to write off an idea, he thinks he's the one, I'm going to make it big. And that makes the difference between the crowd and him. And that's what I was saying, in this gloomy world, those who can think positively, look at the brighter side, are the ones who are going to be the winners. And that's what even health science tells you. If you are infected with some disease or contracted with some disease, and you go to a doctor, doctor gives medicine anyway, he'll give you. He will do his best to treat you. But with the same profile of disease, same anatomical structure of the body, everybody, some get better, some don't get better. What is those who are people who get better than others? Are the ones who have positive mind. Those who want to think, no, I'm going to get better. So it's doctor who will cure me anyway, but my mind is going to cure me. I want to get well. So to be successful entrepreneur, first and foremost, and the only thing in my opinion, the most important thing is self-belief. That you must know that I'm going to make it big. Why? Because as I said, everybody has ideas. And we are full of ideas. In fact, I remember when, I've been minister of 10 different portfolios. So people come to me and tell me that I want to give an idea. I say, how many? He says, 3, 4. I said, if you have time, I can give you 100 more. So I have also idea. What is the problem with idea? But then he said, why not? So there's plenty of ideas. To put them into reality is a challenge. In a system, in a structure, in a particular given point of time. So what is that entrepreneur does? he implements those ideas because he has that self-belief. So there is no dearth of ideas in the world. But an entrepreneur and a successful one at that will actually look at the positive side for sure. Therefore, that idea he feels has a future, and then puts everything that he has into it and tries to implement it. If you look at it, the most successful people in the world, they're the most neglected people in the beginning of their lives. They're the ones who were thrown out. Some of the most successful film stars or singers, you will hear them that people threw them out of the studios. What is your voice? Anybody going to listen to you? And then they turn out to be the best singers of the world. Even not just in India, it's even in Hollywood. One of the best, top class, successful singers, they were the ones thrown out. Why? What is the difference? Because the person who was listening to you, I mean, if you're a singer or looking at you, if you're an actor, didn't have the same ability that you have. But you felt, no, you have thrown me out, is it? Now he comes out with bigger determination and say, I'm going to succeed. But there are some who were thrown out, and they left. They said, oh, I must be bad. Because, this is such a great director, director of I am Bangalore, director of a film. He says, the most celebrated director says, I cannot act, so I must be bad. But they are the ones who said, oh, you are saying I cannot act? I'll show you how. Then that's the person who's become successful. So entrepreneurship, most important thing is your ideas. You must have belief in those ideas. And again, even in college, even in your school, even your institute, there is someone who will be successful apparently. Why? Because he has some brilliant mind to look at what others are doing and take it from there, steal it from there, and go and sell it as his own idea. He looks like a successful manager. What a brilliant man. How did you think about it? Because that is not his thing, but he was a copycat fellow. He copied it from somebody else, but they will not go too far. They look like, that's why I'm saying apparent success, but not a real success. But once, why will not go that far? Because he can only take it to this level because he's not thinking beyond it. He has only copied something, so he can only use that copying part. But because he has taken it out before that person who originally thought about it, he looks like a successful person, but he doesn't go that far. So now remember one thing, and that's why I'm looking at my young friends. Go into your originality. Maybe you'll be ridiculed. But if you have belief in your own ideas, and if you're original, not copycat fellow, you will definitely succeed. But time frame, I don't know. How when your time comes, there is something called destiny, which is a fact, whether you like it or not. Whether it is something to do with spirituality, whether it is something to do with your own belief is a different thing. But there is something in day-to-day life you see that, like I was saying, some patient with the same profile, some get cured, some don't get cured is a different matter. But same thing in life with the same similarity. Some people succeed more than others. When I was in school, I became chartered accountant. Some of my friends were chartered accountants, far more brilliant than me. And this happens, they in conventional way, in our societal yardsticks of success, they may not be success, but they are brilliant. It's always happens. But what I'm saying, you believe in your ideas, then work on it fully and take it to the logical end. Everything then falls in place. Time frame, as I said, I don't know. It might take for some time immediate, sometimes take time. That's some role of destiny. But destiny also favors those who put in hard work. Do you know the story? I don't know, director, I don't know how much time I have, but I'll just tell you a small story. Director, is it okay, Shreya? Is it something which I can.
Sure, sir. Yes, sir.
Swami Vivekananda was once asked about you people talk about destiny all the time. In the process, you are killing your own initiative. Because if everything is destiny, if nobody is going to work hard. He gave a very interesting answer, which I keep repeating many times because I was so inspired by that particular anecdote. He said, look at life as an example in which there is a large pasture, a grass, ground, and there is a huge tree on which a sheep is tied by a rope. So the sheep sits where the tree is because thinking that there is a rope on my neck, I cannot do anything, so it just sits there. Still can eat some grass around it. It gets up, start walking, can eat more grass. But depending upon the length of that rope, can go only that far. But to know how far I can go, how far is the length of my rope, I have to get up and try. Then only I'll know how far I can go. That's an effort. So he said effort is also very, very important. And therefore, I'm saying in entrepreneurship, you'll do very well once you put in all this into place. Let me, because this is one part of the success story, we put in all this together. I handle startups in my ministerial career. I was responsible for startups as the Minister of Commerce and Industry. And I met some of the brightest people in that period. The girls who were in the teens and the boys who still were not sporting a mustache were thinking brilliantly in universities. And I'm saying it without any exaggeration. So the brightest idea they had, and they were working on it, I used to only give them a message. So don't leave it at this. As we always say that a success is where the last mile effort misses. If you put in that, it happens. So we did so many things at that time. Some of the challenges, and therefore I'm going from, because with a limited time, let me tell you some of the initiatives we had worked on. So I used to do work on bringing all the regulators on one side of the table and put these entrepreneurs on the other side of the table. Now, regulation is must. Without regulation, how the societies can run? Everything needs regulation, like when in your school, in your institute. Professor will give freedom to work on anything, but still you'll have to follow certain areas. Otherwise, everybody works on freedom, then there will be a chaos. So regulation is a must in any business, particularly say health sciences, fintech, very important. Because fintech, you are playing with somebody else's money. So you must have regulation. In health, you are playing with somebody else's life. If I'm saying my medicine is going to cure you, then I must have regulation. We must have clinical trials. But regulation is a must. But regulation should not be such which kills innovation. Startup, by definition, comes out with innovation, new ideas, breaking from the past. And where is your regulation stuck? In past. Look at the dichotomy. Regulation is a creation of the past. Startup is breaking from the past. They think about ideas and innovation, which innovation by definition, it means you are breaking from the past. Changing the way you are doing business. Developing a product other than the way it was done in the past. So I used to bring the regulators on one side and innovators on the other, and used to tell them, you must regulate. I'm not questioning it, but regulate in a way that will not kill innovation. Think about regulation for tomorrow's world, not yesterday's world. So I used to do that regularly. And I've done many times, has helped the startup community a big way. So regulation is one of the challenges of startups. The other problem of startup is funding. At the end of the day, in my mother tongue, people can say that you can pretend everything, but not pretending for too long. Some people can pretend by using credit cards and other that I have too much money, but ultimately you cannot go so far. So money is very important. So I started on first time, I got on 6th of December 2018, the major funds of the world and a startup roundtable. It was in Goa and had announced it will be every year. Because we need risk capital, we need growth capital, we need angel investors, we need early investors, we need investors who can think with you. So I used to bring all of them together for addressing the funding part. Then other challenge of startup is the market. How people will know that we have got. So I encourage all the states in India to have their own startup policy and have a marketplace, electronic marketplace like this. Shreya, you said, I think our director said that it's the first time we have such an online event like this. But then I think this is the right way. It's the first time, but probably now every other time people will say, oh, it is better like this. Of course, for youngsters, it is better that you men meet in a physical form. Then you can also have not just startup of business, but some startup of something else also. When you meet your young friends. So startups are not necessarily only business. Startup can be even startup of your own lives together. So meeting physically sometimes is obvious advantages. But we started electronic marketplace. And I encourage all the states that as a part of your policy, you must allow this market to take place and work on that very aggressively. And in fact, there's a GM which Prime Minister Narendra Modi has started in India, electronic market for government products. I encouraged and we started the small and businesses and startup particularly a space on that GM so that you can get a place for this and can grow because of this. So we were working on several initiatives to make it happen. We've created fund of funds so that funding can be offered through the government and through SIDBI, and many initiatives which will help startups to grow even bigger. We were working on regulation, as I said, not just regulators, but even for finding out what best can be done. Even taxation issues I had taken up at that time and addressed them in a very aggressive way. And of course, Prime Minister Modi, as you know, is a fond admirer of startup community. And he supports the startup in a big way. So he started a Startup India program to begin with anyway. And I think in tomorrow's world, the countries will be looking at startup as the only engine of growth. Because the present world is facing crisis which has been shown multiple times. 2008 and now and many times. Because the old model is crumbling. The way we thought that state can support the activities and therefore world will grow, or market alone will bring the challenge, it is all crumbling. The large multinational companies are in fact struggling. So are the governments of the world. So are the societies of the world. So where is the future? Breaking from the past. And who will do that? Is a startup. So every societal problem, you can have an entrepreneurial solution. And entrepreneurial solution, you add business element to it, becomes a possibility of taking it to a new level. And that's what entrepreneurship will be all about, the startup will be all about. So businesses will be looking at startup for ideas. The large boardrooms don't generate some path-breaking idea. They all come in the startups. And therefore, if you look at it, all the big startups were born in garages. That shows that large boardrooms, either because of the way probably their architect designed it, don't allow the ideas to come in, I don't know. But therefore, I think this is the future is startup. You are the ones who are going to drive the world of tomorrow. And therefore, I really look at it as budding, not just entrepreneurs, but a change agent of the world who are here in this program. And I can tell you something. Please, just I know time is, so I'll just in 2 minutes. One, the entire job profile of the world has changed. It changed for a long time. In US also, they call it MAC jobs. They don't have the blue collar job, the white collar job, but the MAC jobs which are paid hourly. 85% of the US job holders get money from paycheck to paycheck. They survive from paycheck to paycheck. US, the largest economy. So job market has changed. The business models are changing. So the only way the future belongs to a startup. Think about yourself and develop an idea which others will tune in, and then you will really succeed. So to put it effort, take it to logical end, don't leave it at in between. When you feel that you are tired and now it's just ending, that's a time when you are probably waiting for just last mile. So don't give up. And I will tell you something, that ideas always have changed the world. And today, the startups are going to write the ideas to change the tomorrow's future world. Therefore, I wish you all the best. There are many things I would have been happy to tell you, but one day I will come there physically if director invites me, and I will be very happy to interact with all of you. With a limited time at my disposal, I don't want to expand beyond it, but let me offer you my best wishes. Bangalore will be the new laboratory for change, I hope, with this program, wherein you will bring new ideas and take them to fore. And therefore, what is important, just last, I don't know how many of you watch the last French Open final. When Nadal won his 13th French Open title and 20 Grand Slam titles, and he equaled Federer's report. What is that makes Nadal win constantly, Federer gets 20? It's only the mental power and thinking, I'm going to win. Whatever happens, I'm going to win. So he's not a startup anymore. He's now established. But I'm saying that is what is ultimately going to make you successful. When you are thinking you are losing, there was time came when Nadal wanted to give up. He would have lost. He never would have won. Forget 20, not even one. But that's the time when he thinks I'm good losing. I'm down 2 sets down. I'm down five games down in my third set, and he still wins, and then wins the remaining 3 sets and wins the match and tournament and the medal. So that's the time. Don't give up. Keep continuing working hard on that. So thank you, my friends. I am now giving up on my own talk, but don't give up your own ambition and mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your perspective. Your take on ideation and implementation is striking, and I'm sure it's a key learning for all of us. It was indeed a pleasure to host you today. Would you have time for like few questions?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So we have one question from the audience, that if you were to give advice to a 20-year-old Suresh Prabhu now, what are the key things that you would like to advise him on?
Sorry, please repeat.
Yeah. So the question is that if you were to advise Suresh Prabhu, who's 20 years old right now, what would you advise him?
I think I would like that. This is the best startup idea I ever heard of. I would like to invest everything that I have in that. Please give me that time of, I would like to be again what you said. So I will do everything possible to be that. So I will be happy. In fact, I'll tell you something. This is a very interesting question, actually. And everybody thinks like that if I were that many years younger, I was what I would have done in my life. Actually speaking, that the question of destiny also comes in. But I will tell you, in my own life, I have seen that I never look back and say, oh, I would have, of course, I think about it. Like when I don't know why, I get dreams all the time. When I just, even short sleep, I get dreams. And in dreams, I speak. I don't know how, but I give speeches, and sometimes I get up, not always you remember your dreams, but sometimes I get up and say, did I make a speech like this? I never knew this subject. Of course, the last 6 months, I've spoken of more than 200 subjects, actually, completely different subjects. Addressed more than 2.1 crore families to whose you tuned in to listen to me on different subjects. But I'm saying, when I get up and think, oh, did I do this? So firstly, there is nothing in life that can bring you back unless, my dear friend, that's why I said I would like to invest everything in your startup, because you are giving me the life that I lost and giving it back to me. But don't worry about what you could have done. You'll never be happy thinking like that. Think about what is still left in you. It's like you have 1,000 rupees in with you, and you spend 500 rupees with a girlfriend, and she has left you. Now forget about the remaining 500 rupees and spend with a good girlfriend. Rather than thinking about why I spent 500 rupees with a wrong person, forget it, it's gone. So time is something which you cannot get back even if you want to get it back. So don't worry about it. So if you ask me what I would have been, etc., I lived many lives in one life. I was the youngest ever chairman of the largest cooperative bank. I was a successful chartered accountant, and I've been to 140, 150 countries. When I was very young, I started speaking globally. And so now one of those areas, can I get it back? No. So now what is left in me? So even this pandemic, everybody say what to do. I use this time to reach out to people. So don't worry about what has happened and what has gone back. Think about what is available to you. That is in your hand. It's like saying 1 in hand is equal to 2 in the bush. I think not Bush, but not George Bush, of course. But so we really need to work on how do you work on what you have rather than what is gone by.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for making Exemes so special with your presence. We are all very thankful to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best. Thank you, Director. We'll be in touch. And thank you, Shreya, for all this. Thank you, Ankur, for doing this great program. All the best to you.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure and privilege to have you with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.